They gave him a damaged alien girl just for entertainment, but instead, he risked his life to heal her. The cargo bay stank of rust and desperation when Marcus first saw her. She was crumpled in the corner of a reinforced containment unit, her pale blue skin covered in scars that told stories of deliberate cruelty. The traders who brought her aboard the mining station laughed as they shoved the control pad into his hands, their breath reeking of cheap alcohol and cheaper morals. "Entertainment for the long shifts," one of them said, grinning through yellowed teeth. "She's broken anyway. Can't speak, barely moves. But she's all yours for 300 credits. Marcus stared at the creature before him. She was humanoid enough that her suffering felt immediate and terrible. Her large eyes, dark as deep space, tracked him with an intelligence that made his stomach turn. This was no animal. This was a person, and these men had destroyed her for profit. He paid them without haggling, just to get them off his station. The mining outpost at the edge of Kepler Sector was a lonely place, staffed by a skeleton crew of 3. Marcus ran the geological surveys, while 2 other workers managed the extraction equipment. They kept to themselves, which suited him fine. He had come here to escape the noise of civilized space, not to make friends. Now he had an unexpected responsibility. The alien girl remained, motionless in her container for the first 2 days. Marcus brought her water, food synthesized from the station's limited supplies. She refused it all, turning her face to the wall. The scars on her back formed patterns too regular to be accidental. Someone had carved designs into her flesh, treating her like property to be marked and discarded. On the 3rd day, Marcus made a decision that would change everything. He opened the containment unit. The girl flinched, pressing herself further into the corner. Her breathing quickened, rapid and shallow. Marcus sat down outside the container, making himself smaller, less threatening. He began to talk, his voice low and steady, about nothing in particular. The geological surveys, the asteroid composition, the way the station hummed when the solar collectors adjusted their angle. He talked for an hour before returning to his duties. This became his routine. Every day, he would sit by the open container and talk. He never reached toward her, never made demands. Slowly, incrementally, the girl began to listen. Her eyes followed him when he moved. Her breathing calmed. 2 weeks into this careful dance, she emerged from the container. She was smaller than he had realized, standing just over 5 feet tall. Her movements were jerky, uncertain, like someone relearning how to exist in physical space. Marcus continued his monologue, pretending not to notice as she crept closer, drawn by the sound of a voice that asked nothing of her. The breakthrough came during a solar storm. The station's shields handled the radiation easily, but the electromagnetic interference wreaked havoc on the systems. Marcus was elbow-deep in the communications array when the girl appeared beside him, making a soft clicking sound. She pointed at a junction box, then mimicked disconnecting and reconnecting. He followed her guidance. The system stabilized. She could understand their technology. More than that, she could repair it. Over the following weeks, a partnership emerged. The girl began to help with repairs, her 3-fingered hands surprisingly deft with tools. Marcus learned that she could understand his language, though whatever had been done to her had damaged her ability to speak. She communicated through gestures, drawings, and the occasional haunting vocalization that sounded like music played backward. He named her Luna, after Earth's moon. She seemed to appreciate having a name that wasn't a curse or a command. Marcus taught her everything he knew about the station systems. She absorbed knowledge like a plant towards sunlight, and in return, she showed him techniques from her own people's technology. Her engineering principles operated on different physics, accounting for variables humans typically ignored. Together, they improved the station's efficiency by 30%. The other crew members noticed, but said nothing. They kept their distance from the alien, uncomfortable with her presence. 3 months into Luna's recovery, the traders returned. They arrived in a battered freighter, accompanied by 2 enforcement vessels. The lead trader, a woman with cybernetic eyes and a cruel smile, presented Marcus with a legal claim. Luna was registered property, stolen goods. They had come to retrieve her and collect damages for her theft. That wasn't theft, Marcus said, his voice cold. That was a purchase. I have the transaction record. You bought entertainment merchandise, the woman replied. Not sentient property. There's a difference in classification. That creature is worth 50,000 credits on the medical research market. We're taking her back. Luna stood behind Marcus, her hand gripping his shoulder. He could feel her trembling. The station's other crew members watched from the observation deck, unwilling to intervene. This was Marcus's problem, not theirs. Getting involved meant paperwork, legal complications, possible blacklisting from future contracts. Marcus looked at the enforcement officers, then at the traders, then back at Luna. Her dark eyes held a question he couldn't ignore. No, he said simply. The woman laughed. You can't stop us. We have legal authority and superior firepower. Step aside. Marcus reached into his jacket and pulled out a detonator. The trader's smiles vanished. This station sits on a platinum-iridium asteroid worth about 8 million credits, Marcus said conversationally. I've spent the last month placing charges throughout the mining tunnels. One signal from this device, and the entire deposit collapses into unstable fragments. Nobody gets the platinum. Nobody gets anything. You're bluffing, one of the enforcement officers said, but his hand moved away from his weapon. Test me, Marcus replied. I came out here because I don't care much about living in civilized space. I care even less about dying in it. But I won't let you take her. The standoff lasted 17 seconds that felt like hours. The woman's cybernetic eyes whirred as they analyzed the situation, calculating probabilities and profit margins. Finally, she spat on the deck and turned away. She's not worth 8 million credits of platinum, she muttered. Keep your broken toy. The ships departed within the hour. Luna, and Marcus stood in the cargo bay, watching the vessels disappear into the black. He was still holding the detonator, his hand shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. Luna gently took it from him and set it aside, then placed her hand over his heart. She made a sound like wind through crystals, and Marcus understood. Thank you. I couldn't let them take you, he said. You're not property. You're not entertainment. You're just you. Luna picked up a datapad and began to draw. Her 3 fingers moved quickly, sketching out a star chart Marcus didn't recognize. She pointed to a cluster of stars in the galactic northwest, then to herself. Home. You want to go back, Marcus said, understanding. Luna nodded, then drew more. A ship, a journey. And beside the simple stick figure representing herself, she drew another figure. Marcus, you want me to come with you? He asked. Luna's expression was unmistakable. She had been taken from her people, damaged and sold. But she had also been saved. She would not forget that. And she would not leave her savior behind in this lonely place. Marcus thought about the mining station, the isolation, the routine. He thought about the 300 credits he had spent on impulse, and the 3 months he had invested in patience. He thought about the moment he had been willing to destroy everything rather than let cruelty win. All right, he said. Let's get you home. They spent 2 months preparing. Luna's knowledge of engineering proved invaluable as they retrofitted one of the station's transport shuttles for long-range flight. Marcus submitted his resignation, citing personal reasons. The company didn't argue. Miners were replaceable. The other crew members said nothing as Marcus and Luna departed. They had watched him threaten to destroy millions in assets for the sake of one alien. What was there to say to someone like that? The shuttle launched on a clear day, relatively speaking. Marcus plotted a course based on Luna's star charts, trusting her memory and her people's navigational techniques. The journey would take 8 months, possibly longer. As the mining station shrank behind them, Luna sat in the co-pilot's seat, her scarred hands steady on the controls. She made her crystal whine sound again, and Marcus smiled. "You're welcome," he said. "But thank you, too, for trusting me." Luna reached over and squeezed his hand with surprising strength. In that moment, Marcus realized something important. He had come to the edge of space to escape humanity, convinced that people were cruel and selfish, and not worth the trouble. But he had been wrong about one thing. Sometimes, the measure of humanity wasn't found in what species you belonged to. It was found in the choice you made when someone helpless needed you. It was found in the moment you decided that another being's life mattered more than your comfort, your safety, or your profit. Luna had reminded him of that. And now, together, they would find her home. The shuttle accelerated toward the unknown, carrying 2 people who had saved each other in the ways that mattered most. Behind them, the mining station continued its lonely orbit, extracting platinum from dead rock, while ahead of them, the stars held the promise of something better.